The observation deck of the research station hummed with quiet energy as Emma watched the distant nebula paint colors across the viewport that Earth had never known. She had been assigned to Station 7 for 6 months now, studying stellar formations in a sector where humans rarely ventured. The solitude suited her. After years of crowded universities and packed conference halls, the silence of space felt like freedom. Her fingers moved across the data pad, logging another night's observations when the proximity alarm shattered the calm. Emma's heart jumped. Nothing ever came this far out. The shipping lanes were weeks away, and hostile forces had no interest in a tiny science outpost monitoring cosmic dust. The screen flickered to life, showing a vessel unlike anything in the human database. It moved with strange grace, its hull catching light in ways that seemed to defy physics. Before Emma could reach the communications panel, a voice filled the room. "Human vessel, we request permission to dock. Our ship has sustained damage and we need temporary refuge." The voice was feminine, melodic, but carried an accent Emma couldn't place. It certainly wasn't any Earth language. She swallowed hard, her training kicking in despite the surge of adrenaline. "This is Research Station 7. What is the nature of your damage? Our quantum drive has destabilized. We need 6 hours to repair it. We mean no harm to you or your station." Emma's mind raced. First contact protocol said to wait for military approval. But the nearest fleet was 3 weeks out. If their drive was truly failing, they might not have 3 weeks. She thought of all the times her own species had needed help in the void, how often rescue had meant the difference between life and death. "Docking Bay 2 is open. Come in slowly." The alien ship maneuvered with precision, settling into the bay as if it had done this 1,000 times. Emma watched through the cameras, her palms sweating. What had she just done? Would this be remembered as humanity's greatest diplomatic moment or its stupidest mistake? She made her way to the docking bay, her hand hovering near the emergency lockdown button. The airlock cycled and the door opened. The woman who stepped through took Emma's breath away. She was tall, perhaps 7 feet, with skin that shimmered like pearl underwater. Her eyes were large and dark, seeming to hold depths that went on forever. She wore a suit that looked organic, moving with her like a second skin, but it was her expression that struck Emma most. Not alien coldness or predatory assessment, just exhaustion and relief. "Thank you," the woman said, her voice softer now without the ship's communication system distorting it. "I am Kira of the Luminari. We did not think we would find help in this sector." Emma Rivera, xenobiologist and currently the only human for about 1 trillion miles. She tried to smile, hoping humor translated across species. "Your English is perfect. We have been studying your broadcasts for some time. Your species is young, but your culture is rich." Kira's gaze swept the small docking bay. "Is it only you here?" "Just me for another month, then the rotation changes." "It's not usually this exciting." Emma gestured toward the inner station. "You said 6 hours for repairs?" "If your station's power can support our systems, yes. We will need access to your energy grid, but only a small amount." Emma nodded, already calculating the power reserves. It would be tight but manageable. She led Kira through the narrow corridors, acutely aware of how cramped the station must seem to someone used to the elegant vessel in the docking bay. They reached the main operations room, and Emma pulled up the power distribution controls. As she worked, she felt Kira's presence beside her, warm and somehow comforting despite the strangeness of the situation. "Why do you stay here alone?" Kira asked suddenly. "Your kind are social creatures. This isolation must be difficult." Emma paused, considering the question. Most people asked why she would choose this assignment. Few asked about the cost of that choice. Sometimes you need distance to see things clearly. On Earth, everything is noise. Here I can think. We have a saying among my people. The stars speak loudest to those brave enough to listen alone. Kira's dark eyes studied her. But even the bravest need connection. Something in those words struck deep. Emma turned back to the controls, uncomfortable with how easily this alien seemed to read her. Your power systems are remarkable, Kira continued, examining the readouts. Primitive by our standards, but ingenious. You make so much from so little. That's humanity in a nutshell, Emma said. We're good at making do. Over the next hours, they worked side by side. Kira explained the basics of Luminari technology, careful to avoid anything that might violate her people's laws about sharing advanced knowledge. Emma shared what she knew of human space exploration, the challenges and triumphs of a species barely beginning to understand the cosmos. They talked about homes and families. Kira spoke of worlds that orbited binary stars, of cities that floated in perpetual twilight, of a culture that measured age in centuries rather than decades. Emma described Earth's blue oceans and green forests, the diversity of human experience packed onto one small planet. "Do you not fear us?" Kira asked as they sat in the observation deck, watching her crew work on the damaged ship through the viewport. "Your people's stories are full of hostile aliens and invasions. Are you hostile?" Emma asked. "No, but you did not know that when you opened your docking bay." Emma thought about it. "Maybe I'm naive, but I think if someone asks for help, you help them. That's what humanity is supposed to be about, even if we forget it sometimes." Kira was quiet for a long moment. "Your species will go far if you hold to that belief. Most races lose it once they reach the stars. What about your people? We learned the hard way. There was a time when the Luminari conquered rather than explored. We nearly destroyed ourselves before we changed." Kira's expression grew distant. "Now we travel to learn, not to dominate. But the memory of what we were haunts us." Emma felt the weight of that confession. This wasn't just first contact. This was trust offered freely between individuals representing vastly different civilizations. "Why are you really out here?" Emma asked gently. "A quantum drive doesn't just fail randomly on a ship that advanced." Kira's smile was sad. "You are perceptive. We were fleeing. There are factions among my people who believe the old ways were better. They do not approve of those who would befriend younger species. They sabotaged our ship." The revelation hung in the air between them. Emma understood then the courage it had taken for Kira to approach the station, not knowing if humans would help or harm. "You'll be safe here as long as you need," Emma said firmly. 6 hours was optimistic. It may take longer, then it takes longer. "I've got supplies for months and more freeze-dried coffee than any human should consume. We'll manage." Kira's laugh was like music. "I think I would like to try this coffee." As the hours stretched into days, Emma found herself looking forward to their conversations. Kira was brilliant and curious, asking endless questions about Earth biology and human behavior. She shared knowledge carefully, respecting her people's protocols while still satisfying Emma's scientific hunger. They cooked together in the tiny galley, Kira fascinated by the simple act of preparing food. The Luminary used synthesis technology for nutrition, but the concept of cuisine as art and culture captivated her. "This is how you build relationships," Kira observed, watching Emma chop vegetables with practiced efficiency. "Not just eating together, but the creation of the meal itself." "My grandmother always said the best conversations happen in kitchens," Emma replied. "Something about working with your hands frees up the mind." They talked late into the night cycles, covering everything from philosophy to physics to the simple pleasure of bad jokes that barely translated across species. Emma taught Kira card games, and Kira showed her meditation techniques that the Luminary used to prepare for long space voyages. On the 4th day, Kira's crew completed the repairs. Emma felt the approaching departure like a physical weight. She had grown accustomed to the presence of another person, to the sound of Kira's voice in the corridors, to the way her alien perspectives challenged and expanded Emma's thinking. They stood together in the docking bay, the moment of farewell arriving too soon. "Will you come with us?" Kira asked suddenly. "You said yourself you are searching for perspective. We could show you things no human has ever seen." Emma's heart screamed yes, but her mind knew the complications. "I can't just leave. My government, the protocols, the international agreements about unauthorized contact. I know, but the invitation remains open. Perhaps when your rotation ends, you will find a way." Kira reached out and Emma took her hand. The touch was warm, electric with possibility. In that moment, Emma saw a future where humans and Luminari worked together, where the stars weren't quite so lonely, where two species learned from each other's strengths and forgave each other's failings. "Thank you, Emma Rivera," Kira said softly. "You have reminded me why we chose this path. Kindness across the void matters more than any technology. Thank you for trusting me with your story." Kira boarded her ship, and Emma watched through the viewport as the elegant vessel powered up, its quantum drive now stable and strong. As it pulled away from the station, Emma saw a flash of light from the observation ports, a farewell in a language of luminescence. She returned to her desk, to her data and her observations.